Hey, what's up, fellas? How you doing? Man, it's Anelli here.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How we doing? Matt Antonelli here. We've got some more info. We've got another player that has come out and done some talking about the Houston Astros sign stealing scandal, is what we're going to call it today. So Kurt Suzuki, catcher, Washington Nationals. Washington Post. I saw this there. I'm going to put the link to the in the description to the article if you guys want to go over and read the entire article. But they ask Suzuki about the Astros and if he thinks they cheated in 2019. They say, or they ask, do you think the Astros were still cheating in the 19 World Series? He says, oh yeah, no question. We could hear it from the dugout. We heard their whistling. What are you going to do? Okay, so I want to talk about a couple things in this video. First thing is 2019 cheating. So all the cheating has been towards the 2017 season, right? That's what everyone's talking about. And a couple days ago, Carlos Correa, during his what I thought was pretty sincere apology, talked a little bit about 18 and 19, and he said they did nothing in 18 and 19. They said they cheated in 17, no doubt. But 18 and 19, there was no cheating. And he was very adamant about this. So now you have Suzuki saying, oh yeah, they were definitely cheating. I could hear it. I know they were doing it. Okay, so that's first interesting thing here from Kurt Suzuki. The second thing is he goes in depth now about what they did to combat the Astros cheating. So let's talk a little bit about that. If you know the other team's cheating, but let's just say you go to the league, and I don't know if they did or not, but a lot of teams did. Let's say you go to the league and they don't do anything about it. Okay, well, how are we going to combat this? How are we going to take some precautionary measures to make sure that they don't have our signs? This is what the Nationals did. So he says that they changed their signs on every batter in the World Series. And sometimes they would change signs within an at-bat if they felt like the hitter got a good swing off on a really tough pitch. It says if their swing was so good on a tough pitch that they felt like the Astros had broken their code and figured it out. Okay. Let me give you a little bit of background on this. As a shortstop or second baseman, right? So I was a middle infielder for most of my career, mostly second base. Played a little bit of shortstop also. I always had to know what the sign system was, okay? So again, most of you already probably know this by now, but let me just talk really quickly. If there's a man on second base, the catcher's going to give multiple signs, okay? So he's not just going to give one sign because then obviously the man on second can see the sign and relay it in. So they're going to go multiple signs, okay? And if you've been following our page or watching ESPN or anything, you know about the code breaker system that the Astros were using, where they were able to quickly figure out the sign system because they had an algorithm where they could punch in the numbers and it would figure it out real quick. So it could tell you, okay, it's this, they're using the second sign or the third sign or the first sign or you can use 1,000 different types of signs. There's all different systems that you can use, but they were able to quickly figure it out, okay? Now, for most games, in my experience, being a second baseman or a middle infielder, and again, I'm watching the signs every time. So when our catcher gives a sign and I'm playing in the field, I'm always watching. So I need to know the system because I want to get a jump on the ball. So if I know we're throwing a curveball, well, I'm going to anticipate the guy's going to pull it. Right? If I know we're throwing a fastball away and we have a pitcher throwing fast, he's a hard pitcher, I'm going to anticipate that they're going to hit it the opposite way. So that's how I get a split-second better reaction on the ball. So I have to know. And I would say in most games, you don't change the sign system up. Like in most games, you say, okay, this is what we're going to use today, and that's what you use. Now, there might be a time where maybe you think the other team has it, and you'll see the catcher come out and say, hey, we're gonna change the system up here. We're going to go to something different. Or maybe if there's a lot of guys that get to second base that day, or perhaps you have a new pitcher come in the game, maybe you change the sign system up in between innings, okay? Another thing to keep in mind, if you ever see, let's just say the catcher throws the ball down to second base, right? So we're warming up in between innings. Catcher gets the last one, throws down the second, and then he runs out to the mound. A lot of times they're going to talk real quick and say, okay, if a guy gets on second base, this is the system we're going to use, okay? Just so you guys know. So you can switch it up during the game. I've had games where you've used the same system the whole game. And I've also had games where you switch it up, maybe once during the game. Sometimes I've seen maybe a couple of times, okay? But this fact right here, that they switched it up every single batter, I've never seen anything close to that. And then they said they would switch it up within at-bats. So imagine that. The guy takes a good swing at a ball, and you're like, that was a little too good. They've got our signs. And you run out and you switch signs, okay? First, this is going to be exhausting to do this. I've never seen anything like this. It's amazing that this is what they had to go to make sure that they weren't getting their signs stolen. This is absolute paranoia. And, I mean, you got to do it because you knew they cheated in 17. Well, I guess at this point you didn't know, but you're pretty sure. You've got to, it's gone around the league now that the Astros have been stealing signs, okay? So it's just crazy that this is what they had to do. And he gave an example. He said, when Max Scherzer has 2 strikes on you and he throws one 98 miles per hour near your head and you smash it, come on, nobody does that, okay? So that would be the at-bat where a guy hits it and you go, okay, time, and you run out and you switch the signs, okay? So this is crazy. He also goes on to talk a little bit about playoff games in Houston. And he says, we got a couple of big strikeouts when their crowd was so loud that they couldn't hear. The whole thing was crazy. I got messed up on signs a couple of times, had to call time and take us out of rhythm. I kept thinking, we have to go to the field and work early on our signs in the World Series just to stop their cheating. It is so stupid and so wrong. So you've got to put a lot of extra time in to combat them possibly stealing signs. And I've never seen, I've played in a decent amount of games, and I've never, ever seen anything like this where I've never seen a team or been on a team where you've had to change signs every batter or multiple times within an at-bat. Okay, that is just amazing to know that they were doing that. Another interesting thing is in Correa's apology, or when he was at his locker talking, he did mention, because they asked him about the playoffs in 17, and it was reported that they had been stealing signs in the playoffs and even the World Series. And Correa said, no, we didn't steal signs in the playoffs, because he does say, he goes, it was too loud and we couldn't hear the banging. Which means that they tried to steal signs and maybe it was just tough to hear. I don't know. But it's interesting that Suzuki mentions the loud crowd noise. And he felt like when the crowd was loud, they had a couple of big strikeouts. So Suzuki obviously is not buying that the Astros stopped stealing signs in 2017. He clearly thinks that they're stealing it in 2019. The Washington Nationals took huge measures to make sure that they were switching signs more than I've ever heard of in my life, because they clearly thought they were getting their signs stolen. And I've said it a bunch of times about Houston. You cheated in 2017. You cheated a lot. And you won the World Series. Why would you stop in 18? And why would you stop in 19 if you never got in trouble? And I know that teams tried to make sure that they would make it tough on you. But in my opinion, if you did it in 17 and it was successful, why wouldn't you keep looking for new ways to do it in 18 and then continue to do it in 19? When the league didn't come down on you and it looked like they were just, the league's basically going to let you continue to do what you did in 17. And that's why I wonder about the buzzer thing. But we've talked about that in other videos. I'm not going to get into that right now. All right. And the last thing Suzuki says, he says, all their players are insisting today that they didn't cheat last year. They just got better at it. So, again, Suzuki's not buying it. They're saying, Houston's saying they're not cheating. Well, Suzuki thinks that they still are. And they're just maybe doing it a different way than they did in 17. So, that's all we got today. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Another player coming out and talking. There's going to be a lot more guys over the next couple of weeks. So this will be an interesting time in baseball. And we'll see if anything comes out where we get some concrete evidence, some more concrete evidence of cheating going on in other seasons other than 17, and if anything was happening other than just the banging on trash cans and whistling. Were their devices used, buzzers, all that stuff? We'll see. Thanks again for watching. To all the patrons out there, thank you for jumping on Patreon and helping support our channel. I really, really appreciate it. Allows me to make more and more videos. Hit the bell if you haven't done so already. Give it a thumbs up. All that good stuff. And we'll talk to you later.